Hold on, wait. We're talking about puppies here.
Yep.
We talk about puppies, not like dogs, not like big dogs. Talk about puppies, man. But wait, hold on.
We got more
Cody,
important things
hold
to
on
do.
one second. We got more things to do, right?
Yeah.
This is SportsZone.
Hello and welcome to another edition of SportsZone. We're kicking off the hard-hitting analysis with Studio 90 off the top of the show, like we always do. I'm joined by Aaron this week in another depleted Studio 90 panel, but that doesn't mean the analysis has to stop. We're sort of at a interesting point in the soccer season. We're going on international break this week, so there's some big World Cup qualifiers that we'll touch on later in this segment. But I think we'll touch on some league stuff before we transition to that. So we'll start in the Premier League, where services have resumed as normal. The big 7 teams or the big 6 have gotten themselves kind of in the top 8 where they belong. But even in the early stage, Manchester City and Manchester United have really set the marker for the rest of the teams in the league, both sitting tied atop the league on 19 points. Aaron, in your opinion, which one of these two teams has looked stronger? Now it's a matter of opinion, really, but which team has looked stronger early on?
Well, it's tough to say as a Man United fan, but for me, it's been Manchester City, just the way they've been playing. Not just the fact that they've won, but the fact that they're completely dominating games when it comes to dominating possession, chances created. I mean, they're just playing really well right now. And Aguero did have that injury, so that might hurt them a little bit, but they still have Gabriel Jesus up top. So I definitely think they're going to push on throughout the season. And United are looking good. They're not dominating games as much as City are, but they're getting results. So I definitely think this is going to be a tight race throughout the season to see who wins the league, Manchester United or Manchester City, because I think they're definitely the two big front runners right now.
Yeah, as you touched on, Sergio Aguero fracturing his ribs in a car accident in Amsterdam Thursday night. That'll put him out for at least a month, but that'll give Gabriel Jesus his chance to shine atop the lineup. They're coming off a big win over Chelsea this past weekend at Stamford Bridge. Some big momentum builder and kind of separating themselves from the rest of the pack. We'll touch on some of these other big teams in England. A pivotal game in the early season was Liverpool against Arsenal. It seemed like the sky was falling for one team and everything was going right for the other. But really, the roles have sort of reversed for those two teams after that game. Liverpool really struggling, and Arsenal sort of righted the ship a little bit. I want to get your thoughts on Liverpool. That's a team who really can't get out of their way defensively. Do you see them kind of being, of the top 6 teams in the Premier League, the team that's sort of at the bottom of the tier?
I mean, it's that Oxlade-Chamberlain curse, right? As soon as he went to Liverpool, it pretty much deteriorated for them. But it's all about that defense for them. I mean, Lovren and Matip, the 2 starting center backs, just aren't doing it right now. Matip's mistake was the reason why Newcastle scored to tie up the game this weekend. When you've got firepower, in the attacking third like Philip Coutinho, you should be able to win games like that. But they just weren't able to get the job done defensively. I still do think they'll finish top 6 just because of that firepower I talked about up top. But defensively, they need to get it sorted out because right now they just don't look organized in the back 4.
Yeah, the international break came at a good time, it seems, for Liverpool to get themselves sorted out. And before we transition to talk about our beloved U.S. men's national team, I want to touch on probably the biggest news to break this past week, and that was Bayern Munich sacking manager Carlo Ancelotti after their 3-0 defeat to PSG in the Champions League. Now, this is a team who, at the time of his sacking, was 3 points behind Dortmund in the league after only 6 games played. They had only played 2 games in the Champions League. Aaron, do you think there's something more going on behind this decision to sack Ancelotti?
Yeah, there was definitely something behind the scenes because on the face value, it just really doesn't make sense that they sacked him. I mean, some players, including Arjen Robben, came out and criticized Ancelotti, so maybe he had lost the dressing room by that point. But, I mean, there was seemingly like no reason why they should fire Ancelotti at that point. Also, the fact that there are no really clear replacements for him that they have in store. So it was a weird decision, but if he had lost the dressing room, like some reports say, it may have been something that had to be done. Obviously, they didn't play well versus PSG, but PSG have been on form lately, so that's not really a reason to fire your manager. But there was definitely something in the dressing room behind the scenes that we just didn't know that made this decision happen.
And it's really unfortunate to see Ancelotti's been successful in Spain, in England, in Italy, everywhere he's gone. Even in Germany, was able to win the Bundesliga last year. So curious decision. We'll see where Dortmund goes from there. But in the meantime, we will talk about international team news as we are on international break. The final 2 World Cup qualifiers across all regions. The U.S. men's national team has 2 big games against Panama and Trinidad and Tobago with their World Cup lives hanging on the line. Bruce Arena announced the 26-man roster, and it was basically the usual suspects that you would expect. Aaron, any names jumping off the page that you think need to have big performances for the U.S. to get the results they need?
Well, the fact of the matter is that they need to have an established back four that can play well together and can defend well, because it seems like Bruce Arena just sort of changes his back four every match and it just doesn't work. So they need to establish that back four. For me, Graham Zusi just can't start at right back. They've been trying to convert him from a winger to a right back. It just hasn't been working. I think somebody else needs to play there. But just in general, I mean, these are 2 huge games for the U.S., not just because they need to qualify, because at the end of the day, we know that they probably will just because CONCACAF is pretty weak, but it's about having a solidified starting 11 going into Russia in 2018. And I think that should be the goal in these 2 games, to sort of get a solidified back four, get a solidified starting 18, so we sort of know who we can expect to be playing in the World Cup in 2018.
Yeah, you make a good point about Graham Zusi, and hopefully with the health of DeAndre Yedlin, that hopefully that'll mean that DeAndre Yedlin slides into that right back position. He's been doing really well for Newcastle in the early part of this season, and so a little bit of forward thinking in terms of the U.S. men's national team. If they just real quick, if they are able to qualify for the World Cup, do you think that some of these older players who've helped them qualify will still be in the fray in Russia in 2018?
I mean, I think they're going to have to. You look at guys like Tim Howard and Clint Dempsey, like there are no really real replacements out there. So I definitely think those 2 guys are going to play a big role for the U.S. in the World Cup.
That'll be interesting. The U.S. plays Panama and Trinidad and Tobago this coming weekend. We'll recap how they did and see if they made the World Cup next time. Stick around for more Sports Zone after this.
Welcome back to SportsZone. This is Getting to Third Base, your favorite baseball segment. I'm Aviva. I'm with Kristen today. And the baseball season has ended. Playoffs start tomorrow, which is so exciting. So there's the AL Wildcard game is tomorrow, where the Minnesota Twins is playing the New York Yankees. And then on Wednesday, there's the Colorado Rockies playing the Arizona Diamondbacks. So we're going to preview both games and tell you guys who we think are going to win. So to start with the AL, it's going to be Minnesota versus Yankees at Yankee Stadium. So Kristen, start off. Who do you think is going to win?
So I think just going off of what you just said, the fact that the Yankees are at home against the Twins, they have a great record against the Twins during the regular season. They've had their number all season long. I think the Yankees are definitely going to come out with a win during this game. They have Luis Severino on the hill. He has a very respectable ERA. It's like 2.98. So I think as long as he goes out there and does what he's been doing consistently, that the Yankees are definitely going to come out on top. And on top of that, the lineup, we've all seen it. We know how powerful they are. Gary Sanchez, Aaron Judge. So I think as long as they put all the pieces together, the Yankees are definitely going to win this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Yankees are going to beat the Twins solely. One of the main reasons they're at home, and they've done so well at home this entire season. And like home field advantage is big on a wild card game. That's like you win, you go on, you lose, that's it. Yeah. Like one game, that's it. So to the NL, it's going to be the Colorado Rockies versus Arizona Diamondbacks. So who do you take on that one?
So in this game, I'm definitely going to have to take Arizona. They have their best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the league. Zach Greinke's on the hill for them during the wildcard game. I think it's going to be a close match. I don't think that the Rockies are going to get themselves blown out. But in order to keep themselves in the game, the Rockies are going to have to play a very scrappy brand of baseball. They're a very good base running team. Mm-hmm. So as long as they can get themselves on base in any way possible, it's going to be tough against Greinke to get on base. But if they can get on base and then get into his head by playing mind games and running the base as well, that's how they're going to be able to get his pitch count up, get him out of there, and somehow get to the bullpen and score runs that way. So as long as they can keep themselves in the game, as long as Greinke doesn't go 8-9, they have a shot. But just going from right now, I think that Greinke definitely will probably stay in for a long time and give Arizona an edge in this game.
Yeah, and going off of that, Greinke's 13-1 at home this season.
Yeah.
So that's like really good for Arizona. And also Paul Goldschmidt, he led the team in all batting categories this entire season.
Yeah.
So he's having a great season. So I think he'll definitely be a key player in this game. So those are the 2 wildcard games. Moving to the other games that are going to happen on Thursday, Boston Red Sox is playing Houston Astros in Houston, and I think Thursday or Friday the Washington Nationals, our home team here, is playing the LA Dodgers, and then the winner of the AL is going to play Cleveland, and then the winner of the NL game is going to play the Cubs. So next week we'll see how everything's happening. But to finish off today, Kristen, I just want to say really quickly who's going to win the World Series right now, the beginning of the before the postseason starts, who's going to win?
So obviously it's really hard to make a prediction at the start of the playoffs who's going to win the World Series, but I like this. I think it's cool to make a prediction, just see how it turns out. I think the Dodgers have a really good shot at the World Series this year. I talked about it a little bit last week, but I think they have a lot of components that are all coming together. A lot of people are coming back healthy, and they have the addition of Granderson, which I really think that he's going to provide a good bat off the bench in their lineup to propel them forward. So if I had to say right now, I would say the Dodgers, but that is subject to change.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I'm going to take the Cleveland Indians. They were the best record in MLB. They had a 22-game winning streak this season, and 3 out of the top 5 people who got the most wins were on Cleveland. So their pitching is phenomenal. Their offense is phenomenal. So I think they're definitely going to go far, and I think they have some momentum and some fire in them because they lost in 7 games last season to the Cubs. So I think they really want it this year, and I think they're going to take how they felt at the end of last World Series into this postseason and use that. So that's all the time we have. This is SportsZone.
Hello, welcome back to SportsZone. This is our NFL segment, Going for 2. I'm joined alongside once again by Vince Salandro. Vince, a lot of interesting news coming out of the NFL this week. You have the Patriots sitting at 2-2. You have the New York Giants at 0-4. You have the LA Rams at 3-1, looking like a very strong team. Of these 3 teams I just mentioned, which is the most surprising to you?
I think it's without a doubt the Los Angeles Rams sitting at 3-1. Going into the season, I don't think there was any real hope for them at all. Jared Goff had already been labeled a draft bust after less than a season of playing because he hadn't established himself over there, and I think people really forgot how good Todd Gurley was his rookie year. He had a little bit of a down sophomore slump, if you will, but that team's really good out there, and they're turning some heads. And the division, again, the NFC West is pretty bad this year. LA is positioning themselves to have a chance, and I don't think anyone, given the schedule they played, especially in the first 4 games, that they would be sitting at 3-1.
You said it right there. The LA Rams beating Dallas 35-30 in what seems to be Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, a little bit of a sophomore slump for both of them. So, but that will be very interesting to see how they turn it around this upcoming week. Swinging to other games, you have the New England Patriots now sitting at 2-2 with both of their losses coming at home. Vince, what's going on in Foxborough?
You can't overlook the fact that Julian Edelman, who has, over the past couple years, has really been Tom Brady's safety blanket and his favorite receiver, is out for the year. But I don't think you can use that as a reasonable excuse because they have Brandon Cooks, who they acquired for this sole reason of giving them more sole firepower. Danny Amendola is basically just a little bit worse version of Julian Edelman. Gronkowski's remained relatively healthy. Brady's looked pretty good as well. I don't think there's a real thing that I can point to. Their defense is giving up a lot of points, and it hasn't been as strong as it has in the past. I guess that's really where the struggles are, because the offense, you would have thought going into the season would have been where the problems were, but this defense, shipping 30-plus points in both of their losses, it's not going to get the job done.
Yeah, giving up a combined 72 points in those 2 losses. Matt Patricia and Bill Belichick both have lots of work to do coming up this week. Swinging to other games, you have the New York Giants, now 0-4 in a game that many thought was very winnable for them, but Nick Folk making the last-second game-winning field goal for Tampa Bay to put them on top, 25-23. Tampa hosting New England this week. We'll see whether or not we get a Tom Brady redemption tour down in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium. Swinging to, I think, a definitely more surprising news on the good end. The New York Jets are 2-2. Many people, Colin Cowherd being one of them, projected the Jets to go 0-16 this year. They're now 2-2 after beating the Dolphins and the Jaguars, which many people thought Jacksonville was going to have a very good year this year. Vince, what's going on at MetLife Stadium?
I don't know if I can put my finger on it. They're playing a lot better football than a lot of people have given them credit for. Their rushing attack is really carrying the brunt there, so Josh McCown's not having to, light it up and put up big numbers. But I mean, last week you maybe could have said the Dolphins are a pretty pitiful team, but as you mentioned, Jacksonville is a team that people are really saying is a sleeper contender in that AFC East division. So, I mean, the Jets, they put together a couple good games, but I would tentatively say to New York Jets fans to not get too excited based on the teams they've beat.
Yeah, the Jets take on Cleveland Sunday at 1 out in Cleveland. Many could expect that to be possibly another winnable game for the Jets. I won't say a game that they will win because the Jets will find a way to break everybody's heart. Swinging to other games, you have Carolina obviously beating New England 33-30. You had the Giants lose to Jacksonville. You have the Philadelphia Eagles sitting at 3-1 in what a big win. Carson Wentz kind of turning it around seemingly in his sophomore season. Vince, what's been different for the Eagles offense that's kind of allowed Wentz to so far avoid the sophomore slump?
Well, I think it's two words. The simple answer is LeGarrette Blount, giving them a credible rushing attack. I think he had 140-plus yards in their win Sunday, and that really can't be overstated. Having a rushing attack so defenses really can't pin their ears back and just come after a quarterback like Carson Wentz, having that dynamic where, the defense really kind of has to honor and respect the rushing attack. It allows, Carson Wentz to be a little bit more dynamic, especially with the receivers they have there. So now they've got a complete unit, and it's allowing them to really kind of flourish this season.
All right, so kind of going to next week, looking to week 5, a lot of good matchups as we talked about off air before we started the segment. Who's your matchup of this week?
I think it's two teams sitting at 3-1. The Carolina Panthers play the Detroit Lions. Both those teams may be surprising, sitting at 3-1, and it should be a shootout with those two teams and those offenses.
I got to swing to the 4:30 America's Game of the Week. You have the Packers taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Always definitely an offensive battle when both of those teams show up. With Dak Prescott, maybe he'll be able to turn things around at home after not the greatest performance against the Rams, and Aaron Rodgers obviously still looking like Aaron Rodgers of old. But anyway, that's all the time we have for this segment of Going for Two. More SportsZone coming to you after this. Hello, welcome back to SportsZone. This is our college football segment. Still, we have yet to come up with a name for this segment, but it's just going to be our premier college football segment. Hard-hitting analysis coming to you. We are now live from Beaver Stadium. I'm here with Vince Salandro. Vince, obviously we can talk about Penn State. After a very near flirting with death moment with them against Iowa, rebounding at home, 45-14 over Indiana, Saquon Barkley showing why he's one of the best running backs in the country. Vince, take us through that game.
I mean, Saquon Barkley running through, around, over everybody in the defense was basically the theme of that game. He had a passing touchdown, and I think this game really cemented him, based on circumstances that happened in other games this week, as the front runner for the Heisman, and really established and let everybody know last week, a close call on the road, that can happen, but the bounce back is really important. And the way they took care of business Saturday, it really kind of shows that, outside of Alabama and Clemson, Penn State is clearly the third best team in college football this season.
However, they're still sitting at the 4th spot behind Oklahoma, who is once again showing in the Big 12 after probably the reason why they're still there is after their big win against Ohio State. Obviously, the number 2 and number 5 teams at the time, Clemson then passing Oklahoma. Speaking of Clemson, they had a big game in Blacksburg this weekend against Virginia Tech, the number 2 against the number 12. Clemson coming out on top. Vince, take us through how big of a win this was for Clemson on the road in the ACC.
Yeah, going into Lane Stadium and being able to put together a victory there is really, it's no easy task. There's a reason that people were saying that this was basically a de facto college football quarterfinal matchup between Clemson and Virginia Tech, because the winner of this got the front row, basically the inside track to the ACC championship and that ticket to the college football playoff. ACC having a bit of a down year this year. Louisville, who Clemson already took care of. Florida State not looking like the team, obviously because of the injury to DeAndre Francois that we all thought they would be. So Clemson has cleared the two big hurdles. Now if they can just avoid a bit of a slip-up, they basically are a shoo-in for this college football playoff.
Yeah, really, the only team left that Clemson would have to face would be the University of Miami, but even at that, Miami has seemed to be slipping in the past couple weeks as well. Swinging to more of an upset, I guess you can, it's an upset. You had the number 5 USC Trojans losing to Washington State, the number 16 team in the country, Pac-12 play. Vince, is this the end for USC? Is this going to hurt them enough?
I feel like we may see one team that is able to sneak into the college football playoff with one loss, and as we've talked about, the Big 12 doesn't have a conference championship, so if USC is able to stay one loss with the ranked teams that they're going to play towards the end of the season, it'll be one of these things, is how the committee ranks an undefeated Big 12 champion with no conference championship versus a one-loss conference champion who has that title game. But I think USC really got found out this game. Sam Darnold had a really poor performance on the road, basically lost his team the game, fumbling away on the last drive, and going into the fourth quarter with less than 150 passing yards. I think Washington State opened a few eyes. They can play spoiler in that Pac-12, and they're a really good team out there.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see Washington still kind of that top team now to beat. Gaskin out of the run at halfback for them, still obviously dominating performances from them, but now Washington, now the number 6 team in the country. So it'll be very interesting to see how that all shakes out as we move along. So the top 4 teams stay the same. You have Alabama sitting at number 1 after taking care of business this week. Clemson at number 2 after a big win on the road, as we discussed. Oklahoma still at number 3. Not Indiana, they were playing Indiana. Penn State, sorry Beaver fans, at number 4. And then going down from there. So other big matchups, you have Ohio State this week taking on University of Maryland, and probably one of the bigger matchups, you have West Virginia taking on TCU in what could be a very big ranked match. Vince, who do you think comes out on top for that one?
I think TCU has the momentum. They've already beaten Oklahoma State. They've got a bit more of a high-octane offense, so I would favor the Horned Frogs in this matchup, but really, the Big 12 is anyone's guess what's really going to happen.
You could say the same thing about the ACC at this point. West Virginia now sitting at number 23. You have Notre Dame finding their way back into the top 25 after a great performance against Miami, Ohio from Brandon Wimbush. Now they are number 21, actually tied for 21st with the Florida Gators. Vince, is Notre Dame starting to head back in the right direction after their slip against Georgia?
I could say Notre Dame's heading in the right direction, but I think you pump the brakes. It's not really going to come to anything too formative. If they can stay in the top 25 and get themselves into a decent bowl game at the end of the year, that will be a building block there for that team. But I don't think anything super formative is going to come this year for Notre Dame.
Well, Notre Dame will be very interesting to see as one of the few independents, the highest ranked independent. Independents always get weirdly placed when it comes to bowl season. So that'll be very interesting to see how that actually turns out. But anyway, that's all the time we have for this college football segment. More hard-hitting analysis coming up on SportsZone after the break.
Hello and welcome back to SportsZone. This is AU Insiders. I'm flanked, as always, by Ryan Siegel to bring you the latest in your Eagle fall sports news. A big week this past week for all the fall sports, really, but we will start with the field hockey team, as we have done the past couple of weeks, as they are streaking at the moment, coming off of 2 victories this past weekend. 3-2 over Holy Cross on Saturday and 3-2 over Longwood on Sunday. They are sitting undefeated in the Patriot League and have a big game looming against undefeated BU next week, which could decide home field for the Patriot League tournament. But we'll start with the games played this weekend. And the game against Holy Cross, at halftime, it wasn't looking so good for the ladies. Down 2-0. Ryan, what changed in the second half that allowed AU to come back?
Well, they took a lot more shots on net, and they got a bunch more penalty corners. In the first half, they only had there was only one penalty corner in the game in the first half, and that went to Holy Cross, which they then scored on. Their superstar Maureen Connolly with the goal. But then afterwards, AU came out. They got a string of about 4 or 5 penalty corners. Sorry, not penalty strokes. Big difference. So about 5 penalty strokes. Annika Krasinski started the offense and scored on one. Nor Kunin stick-handled through a bunch of players, which she's been known to do this year for their second one. And then on a controversial third goal that they got on a penalty stroke converted by Rafaela Rubas, Nor Kunin was winding up for what could have been called for a foul for a dangerous hit. Instead, as she's winding up, somebody on Holy Cross knocked the stick out of her hands while she was shooting, led to the penalty stroke. Rubas beat Marcia LaPlante, and take nothing away from LaPlante. She played an incredible game. It was a very good and very big come-from-behind win. They scored 3 goals in about 15 minutes in that second half.
And that seems to be setting AU up for success in the Patriot League. They come back on Sunday and they win in overtime. What was the difference for them? Could it face a potential letdown after having a big sort of momentum shifter on Saturday, but they're able to get the job done on Sunday?
Longwood, very good team, 9-1 coming into the game, now 9-2 after the loss. But it was a lot more back and forth. There was not as many shots on net as the Holy Cross game, but there was a lot of trading chances and a lot of different opportunities, a lot more penalty corners that both teams converted on. Ultimately, it was Rafaela Rubas putting one towards the near post, kick save, and then Annika Grashinsky, if I can only say the name right, I've only was there all weekend, Annika Grashinsky eventually just flipping it up and over the pad to get it in for overtime. From where we were sitting, we couldn't tell if it went in. We just saw the celebration. But both teams traded chances. Longwood tying the game on the last play with no time left on the clock because they received a penalty corner with no time left, so they were able to keep attempting penalty corners until AU cleared the ball. AU didn't. They scored. We went to overtime, and then with 12:56 left in overtime, Grashinsky found the back of the net.
And we'll shift from a team that was homestanding to a team that was on the road this past week. Our women's volleyball team had 3 games this week, and in somewhat surprising fashion, losing on the road to Navy, as we were talking about before we went on the air, their first loss in the Patriot League in over 2 years, but they were able to bounce back and get 2 comprehensive victories over the weekend against Holy Cross and Navy. Do you think, minor blip aside for the volleyball team, that they are still the team to beat in this Patriot League?
I still think they're the team to beat in this Patriot League, but Navy definitely turned some heads. You watch Navy, it was a 3-1 win for Navy in Bender Arena, which is something that nobody's really been able to do for volleyball in the Patriot League. But Barry definitely got the team back on track and came out with 2 dominating wins against Holy Cross and Army. It'll be interesting if Navy, stays undefeated in the Patriot League. I don't know what their record is right now off of hand, but this could be the first time in a long time that American University has not hosted the volleyball Patriot League tournament.
Yeah, that rematch at the end of the season seems like it'll be a big one, not just for revenge for the Eagles, but in terms of hosting potentially for the Patriot League tournament. The women's volleyball team returns this week after their long trip away from Bender Arena to play Delaware State this Wednesday night, and they play Lehigh and Lafayette this weekend, so maybe some chance for them to continue their momentum. But shifting from teams who are really have the momentum to teams that really don't, we'll touch on the men's and women's soccer team. I think we'll start quickly with the women's soccer team. They played 2 home games this week, losing to Navy and losing to Colgate this weekend, continuing the theme of not being able to score. Now, you were there on Wednesday against Navy. What is really going wrong for this Eagles team?
Well, Navy, one of the top 3 teams in the Patriot League in women's soccer, definitely bar none. They absolutely outplayed American. They forced Riley Brown to make a lot of key saves. Give her credit, 13 saves on 15 shots on goal. That's something that you're not supposed to ask a college goaltender to do in women's soccer. But I've noticed that, American has, many, all their forwards, they're pressing the attack. They'll have a forward wide open on the wing, but they feel the need, they're just outside the box, they're just outside the 18, and that they need to shoot the ball immediately. They're not taking that extra second to look and actually see that they have an open teammate. Maybe it could be something that would generate more offense.
Yeah, it seems that they're generating a lot of shots from distance, but not really troubling the keeper at all with any of their shots. The men's soccer team, we'll just touch on quickly, they lost on the road to Bucknell, scoring a goal for the first time in a while, albeit from the penalty spot. But they return this weekend for their district day against Colgate. We've prepped you for all the AU Eagles action for this next coming week. We'll recap it right here on this set next time. Stick around for more Sports Zone after this.
Hello, welcome back to Sports Zone. This is everybody's favorite segment, Thumble. Thumbs up, thumbs down's down here. We talk about the good, the bad, and sometimes ugly in the world of sports and the world at large. So first, before we get light and keep the mood light as we normally like to do on this segment, I would like to extend my thoughts and prayers to the victims of the Las Vegas shooting over the weekend. That shouldn't happen to anybody, and I feel absolutely terrible about that. So my thoughts and prayers, and I know the thoughts and prayers of the rest of the staff, are with the victims and the victims' families and friends over the Las Vegas shootings. So I would just like to take a quick moment of silence for that. Okay, and then with that, now back to the other stuff in sports that, makes us cringe. So I'm going to go thumbs down to Jake Elmsley because he stinks. That's just going to be continued. He called me out on his radio show 2 weeks ago saying I should call in. I do this a lot better than he does, in my personal opinion, and I think in the personal opinions of many people on staff here. So there will be no calling in to the Jake Elmsley radio show, whatever it's called. I genuinely have no idea. Thumbs up to the New York Jets for being 2-2. Don't know how I feel about this. Sam Darnold did not have a good performance against Washington State. So, Josh Rosen looks like the new golden boy for the New York Jets. However, Josh McCown, who would have thought a failed Cleveland Browns quarterback would actually be half decent? Granted, I'm not going to, get too excited, except we're probably going to be 3-2 because we're playing the Browns this week, and we don't lose to the Browns. So the Jets will have a winning record for 1 week and 1 week only. So stay tuned for that. You heard it here first. I'm saying the Jets are winning next week. Thumbs up to hockey. Hockey comes back on Wednesday, October 4th. The Pittsburgh Penguins will have their home opener on NBC. They'll do their banner raising. Yeah, we see it all the time. Pittsburgh wins. We get it. They need to stop winning. They're winning too much. They need to take a loss every now and then to make the NHL a little bit more interesting. But with that, thumbs down to Nashville and Mike Fisher. I work for the Capitals. Mike Fisher was one of the more favorite people to see around the rink. He was a lot of fun, but thumbs down to Nashville, but thumbs up to Mike Fisher for a hell of a career. But like I said, with that, thumbs up to this weekend in AU Athletics. AU Athletics doesn't get, I think, enough credit and thumbs. I did color for the field hockey game. Well, I was terrible. They did a fantastic job coming back against Holy Cross 3-2 and did an even better job beating Longwood in overtime. Thank the Lord I was not doing color for that game. Emily Akita was back to do that. Also, thumbs up to everybody on staff for, especially Kristen, for sending me a great good luck text before my first game on Wednesday. Women's soccer, I really appreciated that, and I still do appreciate it. Thumbs up to Cody and Aviva for the Jewish holidays celebration. It's a shame that I couldn't, join you for your break fast, and I was very upset about that. But we will find other times to hang out, all of us. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the man, the myth, the legend, Cody Cohen.
Hey! So, it's been a long time. I know I'm missed. I miss myself, obviously. How do I have friends? Okay, here we go. Thumbs up. The last 2 days was sweater weather, but now it's going to be in the 80s. Like, come on. Like, come on, right? Come on. I'm talking to myself. Thumbs down because, midterms are coming up, and you guys know midterms are very stressful. So if I were you, I would hit the books and I would start studying. If not, please hit me up. I have a lot of great places to cry on campus. Katzen is a great place to cry. I'm not talking from personal experience. I just, yeah. Okay. Thumbs up for everybody on the staff. Everybody's great. I don't have any thumbs up or down for sports though, but what else is new? So I try. You can't blame a kid for trying, but what can I do? What can I say? So I'm going to hand it over to the lovely Miss Kristen Bravo. Kristen.
All right, I'm gonna start with a thumbs down to my New York Giants. We still don't have a win. It's ridiculous, getting ridiculous at this point. How do the Jets have more wins than we do? It's absurd. We have to get a win. Just get a win. I don't understand. I don't understand what's so hard about this, honestly. I will give a thumbs up to wildcard games starting this week. I'm really excited to watch them. Thumbs down to the Mets season ending the way it did. Such a sour note. They got killed by the Phillies. It's just so rough to watch. Thumbs down, Jacob deGrom cut his hair. He looks like a different person. It's all his beautiful long hair, all gone. I suffered enough. It's too much. It's definitely disappointing to see. I will end with a good note. Thumbs up to everybody on this staff. I love hanging out with you guys every Monday. We have a long day on Monday. Ryan and I have class from 9 to 5, but I know I love coming here afterwards. I'm sure he does as well, to hang out with you guys. It just makes my day so much better. And that's all I have. Here's Aaron.
Thank you, Cody. Alrighty, so let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, thumbs down to TDR for closing at 8 p.m. Like, it's a college. Like, kids are gonna stay up like past 8 p.m. and like want to eat food. Like, I'm kind of hungry right now. I don't know where I'm gonna get food. Like, could go to TDR, but closes at 8 p.m. And thumbs down to TDR in general because the food sucks. Yeah. All right. What do we got in sports? Some thumbs. I can't speak English. Thumbs up to Man United, who got the 4-0 win. Thumbs up to Marwan Fellaini, who got the brace. Who would ever thought that Man U's top goal scorer in a game would be Marwan Fellaini? But whatever works. Thumbs down because Manchester City are really good, and I don't like that. Thumbs up to Carmelo Anthony. He got traded to the Thunder. A lot of people in New York criticized him, but I always thought he was a good servant to the city. He's a great guy. So thank you, Carmelo Anthony, for being a good Knick. And hopefully we have some good stuff in the future. Actually, the Knicks are playing the Wizards in D.C. on Friday. I'm going to go to that game. Should be good. Yeah, I'll throw it over to Vince.
All right. Slow and steady wins the race. We're gonna throw a thumbs down. Aaron's talking about TDR. Finally gave me some reason to clear the air about TDR. Been feeling this festering feeling for like 2 years ever since they got rid of peanut butter. I'm really not happy about that. Everyone clearly knows peanut butter is the greatest food on the planet, and TDR eliminated it, and with that, they eliminated one of their biggest fans. So, TDR, bring peanut butter back. That's the moral of that story. Before I jump into the sports-related thumbs, I'm also we'll throw a thumbs down. While Ryan's thumb segments that you saw on the air turned out pretty good, I call it like I see it. He was struggled. There was a take where it was pretty rough. He recovered well, but it was looking bleak for a little bit. Go thumbs up to Olivier Giroud. This past week scored his 100th goal for Arsenal. Haters are gonna hate, but he scored 100 goals in 237 games for the club, one quicker than Robin van Persie, the third quickest in club history behind Ian Wright and Thierry Henry. So Olivier Giroud proven his worth on the field. Also, I'll give a thumbs up to Rob Holding scoring his first goal for the club. Just love the little guy. He was so happy when he scored, the 22-year-old. So he was looking good. And just a thumbs up to Arsenal overall, heading into the international break, winning 6 of their last 7 games. Alex Iwobi and Nacho Monreal scoring on the weekend in the victory over Brighton. Also, keeping it positive, I'll throw a thumbs up. Le'Veon Bell, the real Le'Veon Bell, finally stood up and showed up this weekend, possibly after the call-out last week on thumbs, probably not. But he had close to 200 yards all-purpose, and the Steelers beat the Ravens, which is always a good thing. And I think that's all the thumbs that I have that are coming to me at this moment. So for Aaron, for Kristen, for Cody, for Ryan in the back, for Viva, who was here and did baseball, I didn't forget her this time, and everyone here at ATV, thanks for watching SportsZone this week, and we will see you next time.
Stadium in Happy Valley, home of Jerry Sandusky. If you'll keep your seatbelts fastened and Shaka Smart, we will be landing shortly. Shaka Smart.
That man.
That man, like, if you heard, like, instead of Tom Petty dying today, like, Shaka Smart died, would there be, like, a Shaka Smart, like, F you video? Yeah. Yeah, there would be. There would be, Vince.
Not on the same day he died.
So next week.
Week
there'd be a Shaka Smart.
I don't even know. I feel like that would be in bad taste. I would have to tone it back.
So maybe not maybe you suck Shaka Smart?
Maybe let's not pretend like he was more of a big deal than he was. Because he's not.
So thumbs down to Shaka Smart for being Shaka Smart.
I was really, really hoping when all that stuff came out about Patino, I was like, please be something about Texas. Please be something.
That works.
And coming out of the tunnel.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like we're sitting in the middle of the crowd, but.
Oh.
Spirit. Hey, put up the spirit fingers.
Who? A-U. Go. Eagles.
That's a Deepak thing. Vince, put your
fingers.
Yeah, I got a weird message from Deepak last night congratulating me on winning the league because I won the league. Okay, Notre Dame. We back in business. We back. That at least looks like we have like a set like on like a balcony of the stadium.
And you
not
can
like
hear the
in
raucous fans behind us.
Yeah!
As Penn State is getting ready
We are! What if they just yelled that on the God mic? There's got to be a video somewhere where we can get audio of like a "We Are Penn State" chant. If not, I can like look through my Snapchat. There's probably something. But like if we did that, just like put that on low behind the college football segment, we can make it seem like game. We can make it seem like game day. No, don't play it over the mic now because then I won't be able to talk. Do it in post.
All right, Ryan. Headgear prediction time.
What if we had the headgear to actually use?
That would be so. I think we've got a lobster.
Hey,
that's the only
Cody,
headgear.
Dan Lignato, and Deepak aren't on this show. We're happy 24/7. Hold on. Give me a mic drop. Notre Dame, 21, baby. Notre Dame's 21. Moving on up. Super Bowl bound. Actually, Notre Dame is not going to make the bowls this year.
No.
No, Cody, that's only you. You remember when you were supposed to get me tickets? Did it end well? No, like other ways, Cody. I'm not asking about where'd you got your tickets from, Cody. I'm asking we'll talk after the show. I don't need to hear this in my ear right now, but that's what I'm implicating. What are you doing?
Rookie move.
What are you doing?
Come on.
Come on! That should be the Christmas card. Like, if there's an ATV Christmas card, come on! Honestly, I mean, NFL, like, ESPN does, like, the come on man thing. They took that from us.
They cleared.
I'm saying they took it.
Chris Berman, wherever you are.
Hey, he's an angel.
Chris Berman is the most annoying man.
No, Chris Berman calling the home run derby was the most annoying thing to happen to sports. Hold on, he's going back. Go! Judge hitting that one way out of here. Back. Gone!
Oh, I needed a fourth back. Oh, no.
No, you remember during the longest yard when he did the what?
And what? God, he is the most infuriating man. He's like,
you know what? The Schwab picked this guy. The Jets 23-20 over Jacksonville.
How about that spread? God, he's like in the top 10 of men I would want to punch in the face if I saw him on the street.
However, I gotta say, Stuart Scott is the man.
But yes, Stuart Scott.
Boom, yeah. You know what? Somebody called the bus driver. That man just got took to school. If anybody I used to watch ESPN Classic, and Stuart Scott used to host Stump the Schwab. It's where I learned like 95% of my sports trivia. And that's when like I first like really fell in love with Stuart Scott. Because how can't you love Stuart Scott?
How can you not?
Cody, he died. Like, he's dead. That is an emotional story. He's dead.
That was a sad day.
Oh, that
I literally
sucked.
like.
I'm probably going to be like doing a weather segment on our newscast. B, I just spent all day covering the f***ing weather. Can we get it, Cody, can I get a weather map? Can I practice? Can I get a weather map?
No, we're
not doing a weather
that,
map.
no.
We've got to move.
We're gonna talk about all the shifts in the college football rankings.
That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
That'll do it for weather. Now back to the studio for sports.
Oh, we got to cover USC losing to Wash State.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mike Leach no longer locking players in closets. This is our default.
Well, we only have one football stadium. Let's go. Who's number one? Beaver
Brown.
Stadium. We'll go Beaver Stadium. Penn State doing Indiana dirty, 45-14. Saquon Barkley's a tank. We're throwing it up.
Good for you,
Really?
buddy.
Yeah, they do. They have like a 10 grand housing stipend.
You probably shouldn't cuss in your interview. That
Yeah,
probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Cody, you probably shouldn't say, yeah, pay for my housing.
Maybe. There you go.
That
There you go.
made it worse.
Maybe if you throw a please in there.
Maybe if you throw a please at the end. If you guys, being you in the back, mainly you and Kristen, because you guys communicate with me more than I communicate with Aaron. We're in a group message. Aaron's not in our group message. Here, if you guys can all coordinate your schedules, run it by me, and then if I'm available, I will drive you. Cody, I'm saying yes, but you need to tell me when everybody can go, and you need to tell me, like, with time to spare so I can plan my day. I'm not adopting you a puppy. That's not happening, because then I'd have to have the puppy in my house, and I'm not allowed to have animals on my lease. Sorry. I want to look cool. I mean, it's up to you.
I don't look cool anyways, so.
Aaron. Hey, we don't allow self-deprecating comments. Only I'm allowed to self-deprecate people.
Sorry.
That's Ryan Shop to roast us.
It's not roast. I don't roast anybody on staff. That's like Cody. I have not roasted anybody on this staff.
I don't listen.
That's in the room.
Kristen, I've roasted your. Hey, no, time out. No, I don't get personal about you. I roast the decisions you make. I don't roast you as an individual.
Guys, we're recording.
You're not Jake Elmsley. Jake Elmsley, I roast for his existence.
Are you still gonna do thumbs down to him?
Oh, yeah, it's
It's
Yeah.
a thing now.
yeah. All right, Vince, you have to you starting over there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in the back because I'm gonna need mics so we don't.
Are you gonna? Should I do the Vince stretch?
Yeah.
Right before
I was completely out of it for the NFL segment, and I'm pretty sure I'm checking my.
your eyes started bugging out during the soccer segment. You were like, oh, okay, we'll be back. Well, I was trying to slow count to not, because otherwise I could have really just been 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. What is going on in the lobby?
I think WBAU.
They're taking over our lobby. They're taking our lobby?
They're fake news.
What the is this sh-?
Fake news.
What the?
Like, come on.
That's a really a come on.
Do you want me to do my famous come on?
Cody, I feel like I'd be remiss.
I haven't done my famous come ons in a while.
Is there any way we could actually put it on the same line? Thumbs up / down?
That's that's photo. You have to Photoshop that in.
No, I'm not saying how would you do that, but I'm just saying, is that a possibility?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, it says thumbs up, and if you're talking about thumbs up, thumbs down as our segment, or thumble, whatever the hell we call it, all you see is thumbs up. You don't see thumbs down on the banner for the segment.
Yeah, take the graphic.
Say again?
We're a positive group.
Okay, that's just complete and utter. That's complete and utter. Look at our commercial and tell us we're a positive group.
Take the graphic,
We should call it
cover that up, and if you rewrite it in the text, thumbs up, thumbs
Or
up.
just write thumble. Just write thumble.
Yeah, that's what you can do.
So here we go. We have our weather today. Out in the west, you have California with a complete debacle of an 85-degree day. Well, up in the east, we have a little bit of a warm weather system coming through our system. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods. I see, and that's why I should just be official District Wire News meteorologist. Thumbs up to Cody because he's here. He will be coming up after me on thumbs. Again, I'm going to thumbs up the Jewish high holidays because we have a lot of Jewish members on staff, Cody and Kristen both. I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday. Sorry, Aviva and Cody messed that one up completely. It's been a long day, people. I would like to thank Cody. Yeah, now, bravo. That makes no sense. So I want to, again, Cody, I hope you had a good Day of Atonement. I hope you had a good break fast. That's why I said Kristen's name, because we were all supposed to hang. Okay, I get it now. Kristen, all right, can we start over? Can we start that over? Can we start that over again?
Okay.
Because that was bad.
Okay, ready?
Hold on. Give me 10 seconds to laugh that one off.
Oh my God.
Bravo, yeah, that makes no sense.
Well, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, Kristen, yeah, that's Irish Catholic if I've ever heard it. Irish Italian Catholic. Yeah. Wow.
You thought he was going to recover, but
No. Well, the issue is I'm looking off camera and all of a sudden the wheels are just off the bus, and I'm the sole reason that the wheels were off the bus. So, thumbs up to the Jets. I still don't know how I feel about it. We're 2-2. We have the same record as the Patriots, so thumbs up to that, and take that, Jake Elmsley. Because why not make fun of Jake Elmsley during this? SportsZone has hit their 20th year. Wow. Come on.
Hey, don't.
I won't steal yours, Cody. It's almost sweater weather.
I know it's not. It's in the 80s.
Because, come on.
Guys, I actually
Don't
have
forget your
Okay.
big